I don't think there was one breaking point. I think you got to look at the body of work, and sometimes it's just time for a change, and we felt like it was time.
Either Kevin Stefanski thinks Shedeur Sanders is Magic City parking lot, straight ass, or he just don't like him. This is the perfect example of take all your confidence away from a player. He must got some pictures or some evidence on Jimmy Haslam. Like, I've never seen anything like this.
The situation in Cleveland is starting to feel like it's about to explode. And this time, it's not just about what's happening on the field. It's about power, control, and who's really calling the shots behind the scenes. Because when ownership steps in, especially someone like Jimmy Haslam, you know things are not normal. Here's the part nobody is talking about. When an owner starts getting directly involved in a quarterback situation, it usually means one thing: they don't trust how it's being handled. And that puts Kevin Stefanski in a very uncomfortable position right now.
Kevin did a lot of good things here over his time period with us. It was an extremely difficult decision we made, and I shouldn't say I have no doubt, I would be highly optimistic that Kevin will be a head coach again in the league.
Because let's be real, Stefanski isn't just coaching for wins anymore. He's coaching for control of his own team. Now let's introduce the event that has everybody talking. Reports, rumors, insider chatter, all pointing toward Haslam taking a more active role in how the Cleveland Browns handle Shedeur Sanders. And if that's true, this is no longer just a quarterback competition. This is a power struggle. This is where it gets dangerous, because once ownership starts influencing football decisions, especially at quarterback, it can divide an organization fast. Coaches want control, players want clarity, and front offices want stability. When those three things don't align, things fall apart.
Thing like this, I don't know who the backup is. Bro, listen, players in the locker room that like Shedeur, off of that comment, they don't mess with Kevin Stefanski. They don't fuck, because you are really trying to lower this man's confidence. Shedeur, I don't know him. He comes off as uber confident. These type of statements makes you think, I'm not that good.
And right now, Cleveland is walking that line. Let's break this down from Stefanski's perspective. He's built his system a certain way. He's had success doing it his way. And more importantly, he understands that his job security is tied to results, not hype, not headlines, not potential. So if he believes Deshaun Watson gives him the best chance to win right now, that's who he's going to lean toward. But here's the problem. The pressure to start Shedeur is growing. And it's not just coming from fans or media anymore. It's coming from above.
We'll start the head coach search literally this afternoon. Andrew Berry will lead that effort. Key members of his organization as well as ownership will be involved in the process.
Here's the part nobody is talking about. Shedeur Sanders isn't just another young quarterback. He's a storyline. He's a movement. He brings attention, energy, and a completely different identity to this team. And for an owner, that matters. Because the NFL isn't just about winning games anymore. It's also about relevance. And Shedeur brings that instantly. This is where it gets dangerous again. Because now Stefanski has to balance football decisions with organizational expectations. If he benches Shedeur and the offense struggles, people will say he's holding the team back. If he starts Shedeur and things go wrong, they'll say he rushed him. It's a no-win situation unless it works. And that's why this moment is so critical.
Andrew, because I know that there's questions out there, well, why didn't you change both of them? Or why didn't you change Andrew and not Kevin? And I would say this, I think Andrew, over the last year, has done a very good job. And I want to go through that because I think it's important to talk about the moves he made to strengthen our team, okay?
Now let's talk about Shedeur himself, because he's at the center of all of this. By all accounts, he's confident, composed, and carries himself like a QB1. Teammates respect him. There's a belief when he's on the field. That matters more than people think. This is where young players usually make a mistake. They let the pressure change them. They start forcing things, trying to prove too much too quickly. But Shedeur doesn't seem wired like that. He plays with control, with swagger, with belief. And that's exactly why this conversation isn't going away. Now flip it back to Watson, because this is where things get even more complicated.
Why didn't you keep him in for the 2-minute, or why did you decide to take him out?
Yeah, nothing more than decided to give Snoop some work at the end of the game.
Watson isn't just any quarterback. He's a massive investment, big contract, big expectations. And benching him isn't just a football decision. It's a statement. It's the organization admitting that things haven't gone as planned. And that's not easy to do. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. If Shedeur wins this job, it means the Browns are moving on emotionally from Watson, even if they're still tied to him financially. And that's a huge shift. Now let's escalate this a little further, because this isn't just about one season. If Haslam is truly stepping in, it signals something bigger: impatience. Owners don't get involved like this unless they feel urgency, and urgency usually comes from one place: frustration. Frustration with results, frustration with direction, frustration with not being where you expected to be. And when that happens, change follows. This is where it gets dangerous for Stefanski, because if ownership starts leaning toward Shedeur and the coaching staff resists, that tension doesn't stay quiet. It builds, it leaks, it creates narratives, and eventually, it forces a decision. And we've seen how this plays out before in the NFL. Coaches don't usually win that battle. Now let's connect this to the locker room, because that's where this really matters. Players can feel when something is off. They can sense when there's uncertainty at quarterback. And more importantly, they know who gives them the best chance to win. If that belief starts shifting towards Shedeur, it doesn't matter what the depth chart says. The team will follow the guy they believe in. Here's the part nobody is talking about. Quarterback battles are rarely decided by stats alone. They're decided by trust, by energy, by how a team responds when things get tough. And right now, there are signs that Shedeur is building that trust. Now let's bring in the bigger picture, because Cleveland isn't the only team dealing with this kind of situation. Across the league, we're seeing younger quarterbacks push veterans out faster than ever. The timeline has changed. Development is faster, expectations are higher, and teams are adapting or getting left behind. This is where young organizations make a mistake. They hesitate. They wait too long to make the move. They try to protect the past instead of embracing the future. And by the time they act, it's too late. Cleveland has a chance to avoid that, but only if they're willing to be bold. Now let's talk about what happens next. Training camp is going to be everything. Every rep, every throw, every decision, because this battle isn't going to be decided by headlines. It's going to be decided on the field. But make no mistake, the pressure is already there. On Stefanski, on Watson, on Shedeur, and especially on Haslam. Because once you step into the spotlight like this as an owner, you own the outcome, good or bad. So now the question becomes, if Jimmy Haslam is really pushing for Shedeur Sanders, does Kevin Stefanski go along with it? Or does he stick to his system and risk everything? Because whichever path they choose, it's not just going to define the quarterback position, it's going to define the entire future of the Cleveland Browns. And let me leave you with this. If Shedeur really is the guy, how long can you afford to keep him on the bench? And if he's not, why does it feel like the entire organization is already shifting in his direction?